everybody. Today our lesson is electricity and chemistry, which is known as electrolysis. For most of the students, it's known as electrolysis. Before discussing electricity and the chemistry lesson, we have to know that we have a scientific terms are very important during this lesson. The first one is reduction. What's meant by reduction? Reduction means, number one, gain of electrons, or another definition, gain of hydrogen, or number three, it's loss of oxygen. While oxidation will be the opposite to this one, which means oxidation means, number one, losing of electrons, or another definition, it will be gaining of oxygen, or number three, it will be losing of hydrogen. To understand the concept of oxidation and reduction, we can explain the concept by using the following example. If you have the following reaction, you have reaction between magnesium and chlorine gas to form magnesium chloride. If you remember, in the periodic table we have group numbers, and these group numbers are very important to identify the valency of the element. Valency. What's meant by valency? Number of electrons lost or gained or shared during the chemical reaction. So, if you want to discuss the concept of oxidation and reduction, you have to know that we have the concept of reduction and oxidation by looking for the valence change during the chemical reaction. For the above reaction of magnesium and the chlorine gas, we have two changes. The first one, the valence of magnesium in the reactant was 0, but the valence now in the product, which is magnesium chloride, the valence of magnesium is positive 2. So to explain this change, we have magnesium will lose 2 electrons from its outermost shell to form magnesium positive 2. So this reaction is classified as what? As oxidation reaction. And why, you will ask yourself, why magnesium will lose only 2 electrons? Because if you remember, the electronic configuration of magnesium, it's atomic number 12, so it will be 282. So the 2 valence electrons will be lost, which means the valency of magnesium will be positive 2. While in case of chlorine gas or chlorine gas, we have the opposite, where the valence of chlorine before the reaction, in the reactant it was 0. Now it's -1. Each chloride ion carries -1 charge. It means each chlorine atom will gain 1 electron. So the 2 chlorine ions will gain 2 electrons to form 2Cl negative. and here the valency of chlorine is -1. This reaction is classified as reduction reaction. So if you are going to look for the above reaction, it means you have two half reactions. Half, what does it mean? Because the reaction is carried out in two steps. Each one is considered half of the reaction. So the overall reaction will be the sum of the two equations. If you are going to sum the two equations, you will obtain the final equation. So in this case, the two electrons lost in the oxidation will be cancelled by the two electrons gained during reduction, and therefore you have the final reaction will be magnesium plus Cl2 equal MgCl2. The last equation is known as redox equation. What does it mean by redox? Redox, it's the beginning of the two scientific terms, reduction and oxidation, because this one is referring to reduction and the other one is referring to oxidation. So in this case, the overall redox reaction, its meaning is what? You have the two equations for oxidation and reduction. Okay? So during to discuss any item related to electricity and the chemistry or the electrolysis, you have to remember you have to write the redox equations expressing these reactions. Let's consider another item. You know that during electrolysis, before discussing the details, you have to know what's meant by electrolysis. What does it mean? It's a breakdown of electrolyte by electricity. What does it mean? We have many items here you have to consider. Number one, breakdown. What does it mean? Breakdown means you have a chemical reaction. And you have another scientific term which is electrolyte. What does it mean by an electrolyte? Electrolyte, its meaning a solution contains free moving ions and conducts electricity. So to understand the meaning of electrolyte, we have an example: aqueous solution of NaCl, table salt. In the solution you have, imagine we have a beaker, and this beaker contains water and NaCl salt. In the solution you have the ions of sodium and the chloride are free to move. The ions are free to move, chloride or sodium ions. And if you have the ends of any power supply, positive and negative one, this is a power supply, okay? Chloride will be attracted to the positive one, while sodium will be attracted to the negative one. So in this case, the electricity will be completed in the circuit due to the free ions present in the electrolyte. Or we have solid NaCl. By melting you will obtain liquid of NaCl, which is known as molten electrolyte. So now you have two types of electrolytes: aqueous solution, which means you are going to dissolve your salt or your substance in water to obtain a solution contains the free moving ions and able to conduct the electricity. Or molten one, where the solid salt will be melted to obtain liquid. This liquid will contain a free moving ions, and therefore the second type of electrolyte is molten one.